If I can ask you all to mute, please, unless you're coming in. Got a couple of inputs tonight. Right, first photo, friendship 1, that one is. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Well, I'm going for the pedal for the gents. This is the best one I've ever seen. They got them in all the urinals. You're damn straight, wouldn't you?
Where's that at?
I wish it was our locally town though. I nicked it off the internet. Couldn't. Right, as you can see, we have had 4 good frosts as I've emptied them each morning. Put a fresh water in and looked after the birds with a seed as well. That's Russian going out. That's early morning. Because it takes too long to defrost the car, I'll just take it for a local walk on the nearest green, which is this one here. Too much hassle defrosting. But hopefully next week get to normal. Taking the hound out, and I just noticed these chaps, meaning leaves have started dropping off. Once they get a good frost like this one here, they're just dropping off while I was watching it. And by the next day, that all disappeared altogether. So that's part of nature. They've had their little checking growth, a good frost. Also, my Austrometer on the front. These have had a -2. I'm still standing, like, you know, he's alright, he ain't been touched. The others have had a bit of a checking growth, but they've still got a bit of protection. And that's me Cape Gooseberry. Just about make him out underneath. I think I've lost him as well. I should have took some seed out of one of them. Lesson for next year. Sort yourself out in case you miss something. Just checking the Austrometer in the greenhouse and everything else. So far, so good. And my compost bin as well. Because I've got when I did down my plots, my bins, I had more protection around and got carpet. Although we had to have frost for a few years. These frosts have caught me out a bit. So I'll have a quick perv. And that top one was frozen, top carpet. As you can see there. And underneath one I lifted him. And there's a couple of worms in there, just about, that's only in the middle bit though. It's frozen on the outside as well. So I put an extra lid over him. A bit more material. Hopefully that was before we got the -4s. Right, Scott, mate, our first inputter.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, just a couple. Sweet potatoes. Picked them a few weeks ago. That was what it looked like before I cut them down. Yeah, there's 9 plants in there. I picked 5 at first because Jeffrey wanted me to compare 5 of my plants to 5 of his, because he had 5 that weren't grown in the sun, and mine are in full sun. So I just cropped 5. So I chopped all the foliage down, obviously, and then you can see I'll grow through the fabric. But it's been such a good year this year. It's the best year I've ever had. So next one, Mick. Yeah. And that's how they grow in the soil. I've got so many. I literally am giving them away at the minute. I think next year maybe I'll try what you said, Mick. You know, taking them bit by bit, sort of thing, through the season.
Yeah.
But they're monsters, absolute monsters.
In the end, all I was growing was 6 plants.
Yeah. Well, I normally get 10, but I think I'll just get 5 next year.
Yeah.
What size are those, Scott?
What size?
Yeah.
They're huge. I did the biggest one. I'll come on to that in a minute. Hang on. What's the next one, Mick? There you go. You can see the size of my glove. Look.
Thank you. You see, I can see the glove and the trowel now.
Yeah.
Crikey.
They're huge. And so that was grown in a raised. That's the raised bed, obviously. And I've had a similar crop a couple of years ago when I grew them in the same place. But they just seem to like it. But I think it must have just been the hot summer. They just absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's 5 plants, and that was. What did I say, Mick? How many kilos was it? I can't remember now. 14 kilos, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
5 plants. That was 14 kilos. Yeah.
Do
Can
you know
you
what the
store those?
variety was?
Yeah, Beauregard.
Good God.
Yeah.
Can you store them, Scott, like you can ordinary potatoes? Or
I don't think they store as long, but I picked those a few weeks ago, and I was still cooking with them last night. I made some sweet potato mash last night, and they're still firm.
Nice.
So, and then I didn't have work got in the way, and I didn't get a chance to harvest the others until last week. Was it last weekend? Just before the really, really cold snap. But a couple of them got a frost on the top. But I picked the other 4 plants, and I got another 13 kilos. So that's
Crikey.
27 kilos of sweet potatoes. We got them coming out of our ear rolls. So I was really pleased, though, to be honest.
Good.
So, yeah, is that it, Mick?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that the last one? Can't remember now. Oh yeah, no, there's the bucket. Yeah, so I just took them home, and I've just been, you'll give a few away, and there's various people that give me their vegetable peelings and cones and things like that. So I usually hand out 2 or 3 to them just to say thank you, and so it's all going well. But the biggest one, I took the biggest one out, and it weighed 933 grams.
God.
So that's nearly a kilo weight, just the one potato.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely the way to grow them.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
Austin, cheers, Scott.
Yeah.
no worries.
Thank you.
Anybody got any questions for him while we've got hold on him?
Yeah, what time do you plant them? What time of the year?
I order them from Marshalls early in the year, and they usually come sort of May to June. May normally, and then I grow them on a little bit in a pot. And then just plant them out end of June.
Thank you. I've never grown them, but the missus loves them.
Yeah. I just found the loose soil in a raised bed. They just seem to love that through the black plastic. I've grown them in the ground through black plastic. I've never had a crop like that before, not even in the polytunnel. So I think they just like that.
Yeah.
That environment. So.
Get them as plugs, Scott.
Yeah.
Good thing now.
Yeah, they're pretty good Marshalls. They were, I think I said before, I've had a couple of years running. I've had one die. I usually order 10, but they always refund me. They never question it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Real. Cheers, Scott, mate.
No problem.
Good man. What day was this? Either Tuesday, might have been Tuesday, or last Tuesday or Wednesday. We've been having the frost. I think we've had the 4th frost, good frost. And then this was early morning. No frost at all. Still cold as a ferret, but no frost. Weird. Same sky as the night before and all. That's me taking the hound up. This time I didn't need to demoss the mist the car was all night. And when I got to the top, this was dry as well. Weird weather. And this is ruching. When we get to the top of the bog, I have to leg it down here. That does the tour. That's coming back up onto the field again. Loads of leaves down. Let's have a bit of further then. Right, leaves, when they're on the trees, they supply nutrients to the roots. Or when they fall off, I should say. They supply nutrients to the roots. Tree roots draw over a dozen of plant nutrients up from the soil and deposit them in leaves. That's why any leaf is good. Obviously, the smaller the better. The quicker the breakdown. As long as you don't evergreen. Well, There's loads of nutrients in leaves. That's why you get them. It's another way nature works for itself. Along with thunder and lightning, that's our mate upstairs, putting nitrogen into the ground. So he's doing that for us as well. So if you get your leaves, you've got extra. Right, back gardening. Because the frost has jobbed, I'm not going to say everything, it's jobbed most things. It's still in flower. But you see all the else from here and that, so it's time to job them. And to the side as well. So this is start from the top right hand side, working your way down. That looks a bit better. If you remember last year when I walloped the fence the other side, I couldn't do this one because you got all the stuff growing.
Yeah.
So now this is near enough cleared. As soon as the weather gets a bit better, then I can wallop it like I did the other side. But now starting this end, working up that road, getting everything out. Sweet peas still good loop. They ain't stopped growing at all, them down there. But let's work our way up. Right, that's chopped up to there. I'm now going to leg it round there, get up there. Our little mate here, the beauty along. That was after a -2. I took that photo, and he's still standing well. And this one was after a -4. He's a corker.
I thought they were frost tender then, Mick.
No, I think I've put a bit on. We should come on to it in a bit. But there's me getting the Zoom photos together. There's Rouge. At ease. Just like a mother. I've got it floated. Right, Nick put this photo on last week. It was some ginger. I think it was a 5 litre pot he grew it in. First time he'd ever done it. But he's had a good dollop out just to say it was in a 5 litre pot. And then somebody put this on the internet. My very first ginger harvest, the entire plant is edible, leaves are lovely in tea. So, must have been a good year for it. Something I've never grown. That's when veterans go Christmas shopping. I should say that for most blokes. I've done that a few times. Although I don't go with the missus anymore. Right, overwintering. This is dormant dahlias, banana, cams. There's quite a few things basically. Just to protect them inside, frost free. In the dark normally. And Colin.
Right, not very exciting. Just a few pictures. I took all these. Well, here's a story. You remember back in the summer, I had a brainstorm and erected these raised beds out of concrete sleepers and slabs. Well, they didn't work. I kept falling over them. And that was just too cumbersome for me to get round. The last time I fell over, fortunately I got the phone on me. I had to phone the next door neighbour for him to come and help me up. So I decided to go back to flat earth, and all them are gone now. We've got another picture, Mick. There we go. We're back where we started. So at least if I fall over, I can fall over safely. There you go. It's all cleared. Expensive mistake. So I'm not digging. I've leveled it all off. I haven't dug it. What I did was just move the concrete plinths and then rakes everything over. And then I should just use the no dig method. And what I'm doing is splitting it up. You can see where I've put some wood chip either side of me bed there at the top.
Yeah.
That's where I'm growing, and then just wood chip on top, which will eventually break down. I can use the wood chip as little paths up, and I can get 4 or 5 beds on each side, which will be plenty for us. And then to the left of this path on the left, I've got another area for growing, so it'll be much better. I had a bit of a brainstorm with them raised beds, but never mind. Yeah, at 82, you still learn from your mistakes, you know.
You've got trial and error.
Yeah. Well, I did. These, as I say, these photos were taken sort of a couple of weeks ago before the frost. Just showing things still battling on. Nice fuchsia. Yeah, it's gone now, obviously, in the frost, but it was refusing to give up. Nice. There's me. I don't know what state they are in. I haven't been out for 3 days, to be honest, but there's me. My winter baskets were beginning to look very nice. They'll have been knocked back now, but hopefully they will survive. Amazing little plants, aren't they? Winter pansies. Yeah. And there, that's me bucket of brew that I keep in the greenhouse. In there, I've got in fact I've got a netting bag now, but I've got sheep muck and alpaca in there in the bottom. I'll just give it a stir around, and then I take a jug full off that and then dilute it and water all my plants in the greenhouse, and it does them quite well. And then I just keep topping the bucket up. So it's a nice healthy brew, that is. But I didn't really think I should get one of these gauze bags and tip the muck in, and then just steep the bag in the bucket, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's really concentrated stuff, that is. I have to dilute it quite a lot. But it does the plants nice. They appreciate the feed. Good.
What's the dilution rate? About 10 to 1.
A bit of this and a bit of that. It is about. You're right, about 10 to 1.
Yeah.
And as long as it's still got some colour in when you put it in, which that's good enough. And it's when it gets 4 or 5 inches down, I'll just top the bucket up again, give it a stir, and carry on.
Rainwater.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried it as a foliar feed?
I haven't, not this one, because there's too much debris in. But I will when I get my gauze bag and I'll strain it. I will try it as a foliar feed. But even then, I think it'll need to be diluted, because that's pretty strong stuff.
No, you still got to dilute it down. Same 10 to 1.
Yeah.
Pair of tights is good.
Pair of tights.
But you got to find a one-legged woman, ain't you?
I'll try a pair of mine. Yeah. Yes, I will. Now, what I was going to do is get these 20 pence bags you get from Aldi now for your veg.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a few of them and use it.
Oh, what's the good?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's my plants in the greenhouse. They're still going. I looked at them this morning, and they are frost hardy down to about -12. So they should have survived in the greenhouse, hopefully. I can't think of the bloody name. Oh dear. Somebody help me with it.
Is that a piggyback plant?
Oh, it's that there.
Do I zoom in on that label?
Oh, oh, come on! It's ever such a
The Eucharist cult.
Eucharist, sorry, yeah, I just went Eucharist. Yes, that's right. There's quite a few different coloured plants there, but they're amazing because they, like I say, they're frost hardy down to 10, 12 degrees, so they should survive this comfortable. They're in the greenhouse. I've got no heating on in there at all. I did put some mesh over them, some fleece just over the top, so I think just to help them out along. Yeah. So I'm hoping that the frost does the frost kill a vine weevil?
That'd be a good frost.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can't beat a good neighbour, can you? There's talking to the bloke up the top. He says, "Do you want any apples?" I said, "Oh, I'll have a few." And he come back 10 minutes later, but great big bag of. They're the real big ones, or were. They're in the freezer now in pies. And he got some pears, and those pears were absolutely delicious. Yeah.
You're cool, dude.
Eh? Me and the missus got idle, so we seen an advert on Facebook. Next one, Mick. Seen an advert on Facebook for cooked dinners delivered. So we had a roast pork dinner each delivered off Facebook, and it was beautiful with the pudding. It cost us, I think it cost us £9, £10 each, perhaps, for delivery. You couldn't have cooked that for that much by the time you've been shopping. This is what old age gets you into, idleness.
If he sees you and you do it.
It was beautifully cooked, honestly. It was. In fact, there was far too much for each of us. You know, we could have had just a third, just a half of that. We could have had one of them between us, really. But like pigs, we had to go at it, and the dog had the rest over the next couple of days. But it's very, very nice, and relatively cheap. There's Alstamira and they're not lamb's ears, are they? They're angel's ears, I think, that I bought into the greenhouse. They're in pots.
Angel's wings.
Angel wings, yes. And they're supposed to survive over the winter. I didn't look at them this morning. I don't know what state they're in, but hopefully they'll come through. And that's me Aeonium. I think I may have lost that. I don't know, it didn't look too well this morning, even though it had some fleece over it. But I can get another one. But it'll be interesting to see exactly, because I've got a good variety of plants in there, and it'll just be interesting to see what survives and what goes to the wall. Because apart from the fleece, I haven't protected them, you know. So we'll see.
I think a few people have got caught out with this cold weather.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, you got a question, mate?
Yeah, I just if you check your plants, if they're still alive or not, check what size pots they are in. Because I've made a mistake last year of we only had light frosts, but I started to sow in the seed trays, but the cell ones.
Yeah.
And they all froze solid, and the bigger pots didn't. So the bigger pots survived, but the cell trays didn't. So maybe the little pots, the square ones, are not as full of earth as the big pots.
Yeah.
So maybe next year put them in bigger pots, so it won't freeze as hard.
If if I'd have had my wits about me, Jeff, I could have put that pot inside another pot. If it just to give it a bit of insulation, perhaps that would have worked.
Yeah.
In retrospect, I'm sure it would have done. If you'd have put that in a bigger pot with say a 2-inch larger pot, so there's an air gap round it, that might have been of help. But I didn't have my wits about me, and
That's it though. You could do that ready for next year. We don't get no frost.
That's it.
That's gardening, eh?
Yeah. But while it has been cold the first few days, I didn't venture out. I was scared to fall over. So I've just left everything to its own devices, really. On the one greenhouse, I've got the propane gas just ticking over on barely on pilot, and that's still going after 5 days. So everything should be all right in that one. But as I say, I didn't want to risk falling over. Just checking out, so because I'm not too good on me I'm not too good on the ice anymore. There we go. There's me. Some of me pots planted up with bulbs and a few pansies. They don't look very good there, but I'll put these covers on these baskets upside down, keep the blinking squirrels off. And if you get a good fit, it's a good way of protecting them, because the squirrels will go down. Because I put bulbs in these pots, the squirrels will go down and get your tulips and your daffodil bulbs. The little buggers will. They're always after summers.
Always summered.
Always summers. And then in the spare bedroom, I've got me coleus that I'm overwintering. So that looks. The windows aren't that dirty. That was just ice. You'll have to believe me on that. But yes, they're ticking over nicely. There's a radiator underneath there, obviously, so they're ticking over nice and warm. I'll keep them well watered. So I'm hoping that come February, March, I'll be able to take. I won't keep these plants, as per our friend tells us. I'll take cuttings and root them in water and propagate them that way. But there's some nice coloured ones there. But if they survive over the winter, I should be pleased. And that's when I got to me onion gravy, sausage and mash. I got back to basics and did that for us, and that was a bit yummy. Lovely red, a bit of red wine in that gravy as well.
I'd need a bit more gravy on that for me. It's like a salad. It's too dry.
It's good to see you eating well.
Hey?
Good to see you eating well.
Oh yes, we do like the food, but that was very that was comfort food.
Yeah.
Oh. Just reminding me, I ain't had liver for a while.
Oh.
Onion gravy.
Oh. And then sorting through the old, I don't know if I've shown that. That was blimey, that was taken in 1963, I think, when we were fab. That's me on the left there. I've still got that
group.
I still got that guitar.
I would say the jump. Still got the jumper.
No.
What's the name of the group?
We were called the Insect. INN''SECT. We never quite made it. Eh? We never quite made it.
Excellent.
Yeah. I think that's it, Mick. And
Was that a Gibson, Colin? Gibson or an Epiphone? Was that a Gibson or an Epiphone?
No, it is a Hofner very thin.
Oh, a Hofner.
Yeah.
Nice. You still got it?
And I've still got it, yeah.
Nice.
1963 it was. Me and my mate went and bought two from Brum. We had them on the knock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy days. And then I was last summer. There's what's this? This is the Shoulder and Mutton pub in Austria. It was built by the monks from Burton 300-400 years ago. I'm not sure, but they needed a new thatch roof. And as I was wandering past, the lads were working on it. Work of art, isn't it?
Damn, I'm always nice to see them.
Look at that, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is beautiful.
Yeah. That's the Shoulder and Mutton at Austria. If anybody passes by, I recommend the pedigree ale there. Any more, Mick?
No, that's it, mate. I've just blown you up to give you some bit of popularity.
Oh dear. Yeah.
You should have signed that, Colin.
The old Bigsby on there, yeah. Nice. Yeah. The only problem with that, Scott, that guitar, it's got a free moving bridge.
Oh right. Oh, I know. Yeah.
You know,
is it like a Bigsby trem on there as well, isn't it?
Yeah, Bigsby trem, but the bridge is held in place by the tension of the springs. So although it tunes up nicely, the slightest knock you can be out. And me and my friend was me and Dave, the lad on my left there in the picture. We still have a little bit of a go together.
We've got interference in the background. Can everybody mute, please? Except Colin and Scott.
We were saying now we've got automatic tuners, which are a lifesaver. God knows how we tuned up in those days. Because we can't tune up without a tune now. So.
No, that's right. Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Happy days.
Boston, cheers, Colin.
Thank you.
Good
Cheers.
man.
Thanks, Colin.
Cheers.
Lizzie, you've got your mic on.
No, I haven't.
I can't tell him that if I haven't got it.
So I've got no.
Of course, he's got the mic on. Okay, Lizzie, Tom. Right, if you remember a few moons ago, I put a piece in about when I was at school. I went up this conker tree with the huge in the middle of the field. Fell out, and the only drain in the field landed on that. But basically, it was a huge conker tree. Nobody could go and get it. Our legs are up there, and I just walked out on the branch without holding anything, which I could do, but the branch gave way. Meaning, instead of being at home swatting up homework and whatever we do have homework days, but when you was in a C stream at school, me and our kid was always down the brook, so we jumping, climbing and whatever, meaning he was always fit. When we joined the fire service, this is a 13.5 metre ladder, and they will reach up to the 4th floor, meaning that's what obviously we're extended. So 13.5 is a ladder. This is all basin in our zone. What we used to do for the drill, just for a change of scenery, we'd go out and drill if we can get away with it. We could here, and we bridge that canal. I know we can get across that way, or we put a 10 metre ladder across and walk across. But the 13.5 metre ladder, and bridge that, and we'd have to walk across carrying equipment. And there was only me that could walk across it, standing up, carrying equipment. Everybody else was on the hands and knees. So it did come in for summit. Right, carrot whiskey. If you remember, I was doing this one. Been brewing. and take all the lumps out. Now put him in the in the demijohn. Because it's a bit short, because I've only got the one pan. If you are a bit short there, which I am there, just put a fresh tap water in. So that leaves me about 2 inches from the top, because once he starts frothing, I don't want to go up too much. So I put the name on Carrot Whiskey, check, June 13th. Every wine I do in demijohn it, then store it. It's usually 6 months after I check it. Then if it's clear and he stopped bubbling, then I'll bottle it. But I always check after 6 months. So it's the first one in the airing cupboard. Oh, we've got the boiler. Right, our schedule. This is an extra sweet pea class we've added to our schedule from next year. So that was what we had in originally, just one vase of 6 sweet peas, any variety type. And we've added these lot. We've got to organise a talk on the sweet peas in March, and I'm going to give us a talk, getting our lot how to grow and prepare them ready for our show. So looking forward to that. I want to go at them as well. And looking around on the internet and whatever, there was this place, Eagle Sweet Peas. These are in Stafford. I don't think there's any exhibition sweet peas. These are. And I sent away for $1 bag, I've seen here. And, good old postman, they'll give me another stamp again. I've used that one since. Right, these come through. Now this was a collection, as you can see, small print. There's 10 varieties, 10 seeds of each colour in each packet, and a tenner. So £1 a packet, excellent. Small print again, highly perfumed sweet peas. I think most of theirs are perfumed anyway, but these have been a look at it, a collection with highly perfumed. That's what you want in the garden. So they'll be jobbed. And we also got these extra as well. I just had a look at them. If people were showing sweet peas at the shows and they put photos on, and they got sweet peas on the collections as well, I just had a look and see which name was winning things, and these were some of them. That one there, let's have a closer look. This is new for this year, what they bought out anniversary. The Queen's Platinum Jubilee, pink edged white, in honor of most of the Queen's Platinum anniversary, 7 years of service. So, looking forward to that one as well. Right, the port, yes.
Anniversary's been going for years.
This one?
Yeah.
Crap, I said it bloody new out.
There's I used to have that one. In fact, I won at national level with it. The National Sweet Pea Show, the late show at Shrubber Hall.
Well, if it's been going for years, that it wouldn't be new out for them, would it?
It might be new out for them.
That's right. In the road, I shall have a go at the chap. But just reading this on the back as well, do not soak or chip the seed. Quite a few people do, don't they? Just to help them out. And the same as most things, the more you pick, the more you get. Meaning, if you don't pick the flowers, if you leave the flowers on, you just want it for the scent. Once they do die off, then pick them off to get more flowers. And obviously, you still pick them if you want the fit indoors as well. But looking forward to them. And here's our mate again. That's the second photo. Great, eh? Right, our little chap we used to have hanging up there. That's where he was hanging. And he was smacking into the floor. And Rosie was getting tangled up, so I moved him. So he's now up there. But he looks a bit odd. So I've just put a knot in it, which is lifting him up, which is better. Because there's just plugs and crap around here. Lynn wants it covered, which that's nearly hiding it. We're getting there slowly. Oh, look at that belly draft. There's another third of a pan of sauce as well after that, Colin. Just so it's a salad. Right. This is in the sandpaper, so it's got to be true. Basically, university chiefs meaning it's the top knobs. These are in charge of us, supposedly. And I'm ruining the country. I first started thinking about this Grenfell Tower. When that first went up, when I was in the fire service, we did fire prevention on blocks of flats, etc. The fireman on the wagon used to go out on the appliance, and we'd inspect premises. If there was a fire door that was a bit loose or something needed doing, then we'd pick it up and we'd give them 2 weeks to get it done. And say, right, we're back in 2 weeks, and it worked. That's how we did it. It's better for us to do inspections with somebody who don't know what they're bloody looking for, i.e. in your own. That day work. Because all of a sudden, because we used to have a fire prevention department in headquarters, and they used to go around office shops and railway premises and do all the shops and that. Well, to help them out, the firemen went round and did all the blocks of flats and whatever. And it worked well. And then cutbacks of some crap, but this is our top boys again, which is just common sense. If it works, bloody leave it as is. But now we have to get a contract away to somebody else. Meaning, everything was supposed to be fire retardant. That's when we did inspections. And the cladding they use, as you can see there, what a cock up. That's our big boys, because they let this happen. That's just one thing. Must go in bloody spare. Then the next one, Lee Rigby, when he was jobbed, and this arsehole that jobbed him, it was at least 8 to 10 minutes before he was sorted out, in the sense the big boys, the coppers, stopped the cops going to job him in case he was armed. Jesus H. Christ, that's what coppers are there for. That's what the fire service is there for. That makes me bloody bum boil. When I used to do my, most of my Zooms, when I put them on YouTube the next day, I then used to put them on all the groups I was on, gardening groups. Quite a few said, we've had a few moans, you're putting stuff on that's not gardening related. I says, well, I won't put anything else on again then, and I ain't. So if anybody says that ain't garden related, well, I'll just put on. It is, but it's bullshit. It's just common sense, our big boys. That's what they're there for. Go back on that one. I thought I got a photo on the other one. The last one was Manchester Arena bombing. MI5 had intelligence of this ragwort that bloody blew himself up a month before the attack. They could have stopped the twat, because I'm scared of somebody saying the fire service, police, ambulance would stop going in just in case there was another bomb. And they think as shit or what. That's what we joined for. It's our job. we don't go to a fire and say, "I go in there, it's bloody dangerous." That's why you bloody join up, same as the army, navy, air force. You're there in case something happens. When it does happen, they bloody throw you in. We get in that bloody mamby-pamby, and people died because the big boys in charge wouldn't let us in the arena. Right, that's me soapbox out the road. Apologies for that. Unless they gardening related or some shit. Right, our little mate here. Something else I've learnt this week. He is a camelid, or from the camelid family, alpaca and llamas, and quankos, which I've never heard of. And that's what he looks like. They all look like the same to me. I think this off the internet. His mate in the background. Brilliant. TikTok, I don't like TikTok is China, anyway. Right, if you remember a while back, when got me some roe, Boston. Right, let's sort him out. I taught the missus into having roe as well. So, internet, looking for the old, right, we got to coat him in something, and this had got the most hits. So I thought, well, it's got the most hits, it's got to be the best one. So I just basically beaten one egg with a tablespoon of cold water, breadcrumbs. I ain't got no sour cream, but plain flour all the gum. So I've got him out of the tin with a tin opener, then I've turned him over, and he's got a bloody wrinkle on the bottom. If I'd put that on the top, I'd have said it. Cut them into the slices, which they stay on the tin. Coat them. Bung on the breadcrumbs. Frying pan. Look at that, Boston. To say it's tin roe, I had that tin roe for moons. And the taste was superb. Mushy peas and chips. I had 2 of them left over. There's our mate again. All mates. A proper mates, ain't they, them two? Right, parsnip wine. I ain't done this one for moons. We had an old bloke on our who used to show parsnip wine at our shop, and he used to win every year with it. And it was evil. It was strong as hell. And he'd never give anybody the recipe. And he died without passing it on. He got no kids or nothing, so it went with him. Pretty nice of him. But I'll do well with the one I got anyway. So I've got all my bits. Normal thing, Demerara sugar instead of white. Got all my bits and pieces. I know they've washed these, but there still might be a bit of dirt in there or canker or something. So that's off t'other end and he's off this end. Only want clean snips. So I bung my lid on, put him on 0, then I'll start putting the snips on until I got the weight I needed, which there was £5. I fought off, that'll do. Slice him up as small as you can. The old pan comes out, then the big one. Slice him up till he's full and fill him up away to. I think it was half a pint of water I was short. Otherwise, it would have boiled over. Just bring to the boil and simmer. While he was simmering, I went down and did the waiter. So he was about halfway. Well, he's still on the simmer now, to the boil. And now I'm just going to get the zest off the orange. Lemons. It's steamed up there. Take a photo again. That's a bit better. If you're just draining them, put in the the zest in and the lemon juice. And then all my extras are going in as well. And the right amount of sugar to go in, what it says on the tin. And then that nice and hot, and that's when you bung the sugar in. And give a good stir until it is all dissolved. As you see there in the bin, I'm just under a gallon. So when it does come to go in the demijohn, then I'm going to fill that up there. Just because my pan more big enough when I was boiling them. So there's my first one that was in. There's my second one. Just to get it, in case I get a slop over, I've got my tissue around there. Right, leave that for 24 hours. Then you add your yeast and nutrient. Stir daily for 2 weeks. Just a nutrient. There it goes in. Stir it in. Right, as I'm into my canners now. I've looked at quite a few groups on the canners and on YouTube. I found a few people in the UK, which is what I was after. I know there's quite a few in the States, but they're different climates to what we have. And there's basically, if I'm in a pot like it is there, so they're on this outside, then they brought them in dormant. Chopping off, one of the lads told us, which I asked, he was in Canada. You see, if you've got new leaves in the middle, you don't matter, just to overwinter them. And just see he's dry as hell, so he has been overwintered. But when winter comes to start them off, i.e. the early springs and whatever, just take them out of the pot. Open up all the root structure. Get all the compost away. And you chop the top off. And it's the bottom what you want. The rhizomes, which are these lot. So they've quartered that. So we ease off the bottom of him basically. So I've just quartered it. That one will get bunged. And just put these on. Obviously, if you've got a bit of heat, the better. Otherwise, wait till later on, till the weather starts picking up a bit. But if you haven't got heat in the greenhouse, then you get a head start by keeping these off as well. I think it was a 50 minimum, which is 10, which is always what I used to have my greenhouse when I started the 8 ounce onions. And well, everything else off. The end of the greenhouse was 10 minimum. And I've just started to come there. I think I took these in weekly intervals. That was a bit blurred, but you can just about make it out. And then you can see the shoot. But once they start going, then they'll go loop. Right, saw this in the Sun newspaper again. Just looking at these chaps. Ralph Fiennes. Thought I've heard that name before. I thought we've heard of him before. And there was 2 of them. Because I'm on SAS websites. I follow them and all. And this is some memorabilia, honestly, which somebody's got. Let's have a close up of that one there. Randolph Fiennes. I thought, are they related? So I'll Google that again. Ranulph is a cousin to Ralph. There I am there. So that's where I knew the name from. Basically, it's Ranulph Fiennes. This was on one of his books. This is quite an adventure. So I'll just Google him. Born 1944. British explorer, writer and poet who holds several endurance records. Served in the British Army for 8 years. Also appeared in counter-insurgency service while attached to the army of the Sultanate of Oman. Clever bloke. Undertook numerous expeditions and was the first person to visit both the North Pole and the South Pole by surface means, and the first to completely cross Antarctica on foot. In May 2009, at the age of 65, he climbed to the summit of Mount Everest. Guinness Book of World Records 1984 said he was the world's greatest living explorer. What a clever chap. And he's got it up top and all. British Army officer. So let's look into him. Was he in the SAS? Here's his books, what he's done. Most of them about his expeditions and whatever. So I googled him and all. Why was Ranulph Fiennes kicked out in the SAS? Before he was able to complete his training, he and a friend were caught in the act of attempting to blow up a dam that had been built at Castle Combe in Dorset for the filming of Dr. Dolittle. Fiennes was given a hefty fine and promptly kicked out in the SAS. Meaning, if it had kept his bloody head, just done what he was supposed to do, stayed in the SAS, he'd have been a good asset. So, Who Dares Wins programme. Ollie Ollerton, Andy Middleton, Jason Fox, and Billy Bingham. Anybody from the forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, been going for a SAS selection. It's not really, well, it is SAS, it's called SAS, but he was SBS, and he was Special Boat Service, meaning they was from the Marines. There was only Billy that was SAS, probably from the Paras. Somebody else you might remember, Special Forces, Paddy Ashdown. Paddy joined the Royal Marines 42 Commando 59, Borneo, Indonesia, did his bit, and he was in the SBS. Then it was called Special Boat Section. It's now called the Special Boat Service. He later left the Royal Marines for a short time, worked as an intelligence officer for a Secret Defence Service, i.e. MI6. So, good man, good on him.
Mick?
Yes.
Just going back to that Ralph Fiennes, the actor.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's seen it, but I can recommend there's a film on, I've watched it on computer, it's called The Dig, and he's brilliant in it. It's a lovely film based on a true story.
Yeah.
About archaic boat that they found on somebody's land, and it's to do with the excavation. It's well worth a watch. I recommend it. The Dig.
It's a good film on Netflix.
Have you watched it, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah, Netflix. Yeah.
Good man. Cheers for that, Colin. So fancy that, eh? Paddy Ashdown. Good man. Here's our lads again. I'm good, eh, they? This is a natural wonder of an insect native to Costa Rica. Species of scaly beetle found in Costa Rica. Don't look real, does it? Looks chrome. Pretty. Right, another day of frost, another emptying of the weight out in the morning. Just get the papers in the morning before the sun comes up. Right, the Elstrom area, after that -4, I've jobbed the ones on the front. They've finally been jobbed. But I'm leaving them as they am. Because if that lot's still there, Then to let them, if we have another frost, it'll let them before it jobs a lot on the bottom. So if I tap them down, I'll have bloody cuts and everything. So I'm staying as down for a bit. Routine there for the morning. Sorry, Paul, had another delivery. This time it was a thing. £9 for him. Good thing. Late summer, early autumn. Ideal for our show. And that's the last one I had. So I've got him in any fruits for our show as well. Right, that's my first bit of scraps in a row. I would do extra chips and mushy peas. So I had another meal. And I googled it. You know, give dogs a row, but in moderation. So I just had a bit. Loves that at all. This is a chap on Canners again. I found him. I think he's from Yorkshire. So I thought, well, he's not too far away. So similar climate to us. So I went through all his gunk. And this is basically saving the seed or splitting the plant. And then he starts off. This is on YouTube, so I'm not a bird. But I'll just break it down. Basically, that's the size of his plant. And then you can see them by the top leaves, or these as well. The frost has jobbed them. Meaning, that tells the plant, stop flowering. It's time to have a good bit dormant. So that's what he's doing. First thing he does, chops the tops off. And all the ones he's got established, which are out, obviously these. If you leave them in, they would just spread every year. So that you need chopping them anyway. Then you've got air movement around, otherwise they'll be too thick. So he just chopped a good dollop off with a shovel or a spade. And now he's splitting them. So he just got one rhizome in each. What's that? 2 litre pot or something. He's just bunging them in. And that's one big dollop. So obviously you've got to get a bigger pot. And these plastic tubs are ideal. And saving seed it does as well. But you've got to be careful. Once they are dried off the seed pods, same with most things, then when the seeds come out, and these are solid. So these are seeds that go in green, but obviously they've got a good brown. Or like that one there, they were dried up properly. So just opening one of them up, you get your seeds out. Now these are solid, so you've got to scar them. Like I mentioned before, with the sweet peas, you don't bung them in water or chip. You just leave them. But these skins are that solid on these. Just to help germination, you've got to scar them. And here I'm just using sandpaper until you get to that stage. As soon as you see the white of the seed inside, then that's what you want to see, because then when they go in water, the water soaks in and starts them off. If that was just solid and you ain't scarred them, it might take 2 or 3 weeks, even a month, just for that to soak in properly. So all you're doing is helping them out. And that was after 2 weeks. Put them in water. And once they got a spurt on, then you just put them in little tubs, compost, water. You put them in a little propagator, which is made here. You can put a lid on it, or a plastic bag. So they've got their own warmth because they've been watered. These will sweat. And obviously you're going to keep them indoors. Keep them at 75 or 25C. Obviously this is if you start them off early. within a couple of weeks, I've got new shoots. Right, the chap I was looking at, this is a chap in the States, but because he's got a large, it's like a bloody plantation, he's got his own nursery selling cannas. So he's trialing all the time, and this was another trial. Basically, he was holding the seeding end with pliers, and he just got a file there, and he was just filing that down. But this trial was put in like tissue, moist tissue, so he's spreading them out over. So he's jobbed all the seeds, so you can see all the seed bits. And then you got like a little jiffy bag, which can seal. So that is moist. And once again, once that's sealed, then that's its own little propagator. Exactly the same. We've put in 5 days later, lo and behold, I'm all sprouted. South Pacific orange canna. And this is what he's doing now, because he's got his own nursery. Obviously he's trial and error as well, and this is now the system on him, and this is about 6 months old, so we're up to date. So if he does it, then we can do it as well. And then they just prick out and bung them in here. I collect them from canna lily seed pods, which are them. I harvest from late August to October, same as us, or to get the good frost, I should say for us. So there's your pods, but that's when they're ready, when they're nice and well that time. When they dry up, turn around, like them there. Some you open up and they're blind, there's nothing there. Because some cannas don't produce seeds. Stuttgart canna is one. Now I had that one. You see the foliage of the leaf. Beautiful. So I'm going to take cuttings off him. I can't get seed from him. Another one is Tropicana. He won't throw no seed. Or if it does, it'll be naff. Taking to work. Meaning, if you get one of these that you can't get seed off it, when he has finished flowering, just take him off altogether, and all the nourishment will go into the next flower, and not into that lot. Tyson Yellow Princess, never heard of that one. I don't know where we can get it over here. Pretoria, another one we can get, but he don't produce seed either. Yellow King Numbered, ain't heard of that one, but that is another one. And Cleopatra, I've got one of them, once again because of the leaf. They're that beautiful, and the flower is a bonus. But that's another one, the seed's no good. You gotta take cuttings each time. Dead end these canna varieties, which I've said. As you can see, you're just cutting them off the secateurs down to the base of the leaf. Since they can't produce seeds, you now use a rotary tool just to scarify the seed. I suppose it just does that bit until you can see the white, it don't go straight across. Well, he's trial and error, isn't it? And this is his best trial so far. I went to put 4 across there, it wouldn't bloody go on, so I put that in. So this is his up-to-date trial now. This is what he uses now. Once he's scarred them, he then keeps the seeds in hot tap water, not boiling water out of the kettle, but hot tap water. And after 1 week, the root will grow. Place the seeds in a food tray. keep the seeds under a grow light. Obviously, he wants them early for his nursery. But sunlight I do in the greenhouse, let me just walk later on. Mist them daily. Right, stop them drying out. Adds more potting soil. And then a couple of inches tall. Gradually acclimate them to the outdoors. Separate them and plant them out individually into pots. You start them indoors during the winter. Don't forget he's an early man because he wants them for his nursery. But same for us. And that is a method he does now, so he's been trialing and erroring. It's just hot water. And these are the ones that don't produce seed. Just slice them up, get the spade in, propagate them by dividing the rhizome. Canners, he mentioned this quite a few times, they love water, meaning whether they're in the ground, which I should be trialling next year, both my borders and on the front of the house. I'm putting canners in and they're going to stay in. If I lose them, I'll lose them. If I don't, I don't. But they love water, whether in the ground or in pots. Especially pots, you've got to water twice as often as if they're in the ground. Because pots will dry out quicker. And they also love full sun. So if you can do it, plant them where they've got most sun. Another programme I like watching, Tower of London. This is good bullshit, this is. Plus it's educational. There was a new constable. Took over from our mate. This was what day is it on? Is it Tuesday or Thursday? Can't remember. But when I put these on, that's where he lives. What's he got growing outside the house? Canners. He's even this century got one in his little shelter. He's a good lad. Oh yeah, but he'd like one. Nice to say, them canners have stayed in there as well. Because they've got a bit of protection, a wall. There's my last bit of roe on a crusty cob. Beautiful. Sheep must be driven clear of the target area before firing commences. Rack a lamb, 75 quid. See the range warden. Lovely. Right, this is after the miners forum. I've got some more kitchen and garden waste need chopping up. While I'm in there, I thought, well, my bloody weight just froze in there. It's just going to be. It was -6 that was. Bloody order. So I've took him out to the bin. Opened him up. Just put all my gump on. Close him down again. Meter on. I should have done this when we had the first frost. It's just ticking over on 50. And he's even washed this morning. But there's still enough there just to protect the soil underneath. And this was just going down in the compost bin. The top bit was solid. But down there, as you can see, I've got activity. But it was dry. So what I've done, you see the steam coming off. It is just off tepid, so it'd be not warm, but take cold, just to help them out. So I've waited that. Put the lid back on. Right, a few years back, me and Dave Goodwin, I went and visited him, and we had a nose round a worm farm. And the only feed they used was Layers chicken pellets, along with a bedding of multi-purpose compost, shredded newspaper, Looking at recent YouTube videos, these are from the States, and they're using grains now as extra feeds. I've googled it. I bought a bag of this. They're £6. A small print was always Google right down to the bottom. Read all the gum. British made worm food by Will Direct. This worm food is a mixture of grains: maize, wheat, soya. 3 that I don't use, as well as other growth promoting additives. So I thought that would do me. So I'm going to try that out. Right, when I was in the mob, we used to do, because I was a seaman gunner. If we're obviously at sea during the night, you have to do night shifts. And if you're a seaman, you're either a gunner, tazape, you just torpedo an anti-submarine, or radar. So if you're Taz and a gunner, you ain't got a man with it at night. So we used to do lookout, wheelhouse, or lifebuoy ghost. As the setting sun sinks slowly and the night comes rolling in, the lifebuoy ghost takes up his post, and his lonely watch begins. He'll stand upon the quarterdeck as the waves go rushing by, with just the stars and moon for company in the cold Atlantic sky. That's tied to my last ship. Basically, every ship you go on, any line, anything, you have to have a lifebuoy ghost during the day, because there's everybody's on your upper deck anyway, you don't need one. But at night, in case somebody falls overboard, and that's what it was, you as a lifebuoy ghost, you'd either hear them scream or a splash, and you throw a lifebuoy over, sound the alarm, we'd turn around and pick them up. I think we had 2, it was out of the West Indies, we had 2 jump over. One of them stabbed himself with a screwdriver just to finish it and legged it over. But that's why we have lifebuoy ghost. It's bloody cold, boring, and you start hearing things or whatever. And that was part of the job. And that's when they bring you around a mug of kai. It was solid chocolate, like an house brick, and you'd scrape it off with a knife. Put a tin of condensed milk in, somewhat water, and you'll go around with a mug of kai. We had Prince Charles on for, I think, 3 months he did us on the bridge. And I took and made him a cup. I gave him his first mug of kai he ever had in his life. But a good lad he was. And that's one of the jobs we had, lifebuoy ghost. I was a sea cat aimer. I got 2 4.5 inch guns on front of that. There's my sea cat missiles. Here's me, I was sat in there, and the radar used to click onto the target, i.e. aircraft. You'd fire a Sea Cat missile, and using my thumb joystick, I'd guide the missile onto the target. There was 1 port starboard, so there were 2 Sea Cat aimers on board ship. They've got our own helicopter, Wasp helicopter. And there's Tazapes, torpedo and anti-submarine, so those are the mortars. We'd fire them over. But best ship I've been on, I think it was 260 blokes on board. But we had, luckily for us, the only frigates that had got bootnecks on board Marines, but a detachment of Marines. Because going around the West Indies, i.e. the Commonwealth, or going around anywhere, if anything kicked off, like Sierra Leone, we did there, we send the Marines aboard ashore just in case it was needed. But luckily, it mainly tribal class frigates that went to the West Indies because they got Marines on. We did 2 stints because the ship that was coming out to relieve us conked out. We had an extra stint out in the West Indies. I think it was another 7 months. Really brilliant, if it was single. And the only stipulation to keep the kid or the crew happy, those that was married, they flew the wives out. Kept the wives happy, kept the lads happy. But loved it. Permanently pissed for 2 years. He got paid for it. Busting job. Things we used to see in the mob. Albatross. I googled this afternoon. The albatross is the largest bird that can go years without landing. They spend their first 6 years of life flying over the ocean before coming into land to mate. 6 bloody years, Gordon Bennett. It's capable of travelling more than 10,000 miles in a single journey, certain to be globally 46 days. But these are bloody huge. And that they used to come round to the ship. When they got bored, bloody floating around and bloody wind that come down. They was bloody huge. But that was good luck if you saw them at sea, basically, which we used to. Northern Lights went up to Iceland. That was good. But then you couldn't get it on camera. You couldn't bloody catch it on camera. You can now, obviously. Another good thing we seen out the window is flying fish. You used to see these regular. I think it was summit. They got the wings on because there's a bigger fish coming into yomp them, so they just leg it out and flap, just to get away from whoever's yomping them. That was a good shot. I got that off down the road. Right, stirring my wine daily. This is this afternoon, our first flurry of snow. And Russian, when we had it 2 years ago, when there was a pup, there was snow on the ground then. But I'd never seen the snow coming down as snowflakes. This baffled her, so I had to let her out. And dumbfounded. Loves it. Mum said alcohol is your enemy. Jesus said, love your enemy. Case closed. Cheers, people.
Cheers, Mick.
Cheers, Mick.
Cheers, Mick.
Stop share.
Thanks, Mick. Excellent.
Thanks, Mick.
Good.
Happy Christmas, everybody.
Yeah. Have a good
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
happy
not-
Christmas.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
There's
And
no,
you.
obviously, Zoom next week. But if
No.
you remember, take a photo with a drink about 7 o'clock
Christmas, Mick,
and send it me.
and everybody on the Zoom.
Okay. Thank
Cheers,
you.
Dennis.
All the best, mate.
Good
Cheers.
man.
Cheers, Dan.
I'm back about
Bye,
7th of
everyone.
January, all being well.
7th of January, right.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks, Mick.
If not, 14th.
Thank you.
I'll send
Okay.
a link out on your road.
Lovely. Bye.
Okay.
See you all.
Have a good one.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Bye.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Bye.
Merry Christmas, all.
See you all.
Yeah.
You click the page, you're not found the one.